If you're looking to buy the DJI Mic wireless system or the Rode Wireless Go 2, then this video is going to help you out a lot. To start off with, we have to talk about audio quality. So right now you're listening to the Rode Wireless Go 2, which is good overall, but I do find it to be a little bit muffled sounding, and no matter how much you change it, if you talk loudly or have a lot of sound that comes loudly it tends to distort in the mic, and no amount of changing the output gain of the receiver can change that, and no amount of changing the output or the input gain of the camera changes that. And now you're listening to the DJI mic. Now the DJI mic I find sounds a little bit better out of box, straight out just the way it is, but it also does better overall with loud sound. So if you have somebody who's talking really loudly like this, it doesn't distort quite as badly. That coupled with the fact that you get a much more granular control over not only the transmitter loudness settings or the input settings on the transmitter, but also on the output of the receiver. So you can just get much more fine detailed control over how this microphone sounds. But then what happens if you plug a lavalier into? Now this is the Countryman B3, which is a good $200-ish microphone, but it's a good overall lavalier just in general. Now this is where the Rode and the DJI do differ quite a bit, is the Rode, when you plug an external mic into it, still maintains a relatively clean audio, not a lot of self-noise. Now I've switched to the DJI mic. Same exact system, same microphone, but the DJI mic has a lot more self-noise. So if you're going to use this with a lavalier plugged in, you either need to use the Rode system or you need to use this Shure MVL lavalier mic. This particular microphone works very well with the DJI microphone system. I don't know why. It has a much higher output, but it just does a lot better than any other lav that I've tested with the DJI mics. And that's where we come to the distance that both of these will go. The Wireless Go 2 will go 200 meters, whereas the DJI system will go 250 meters. Here we are with the DJI mic. Now one thing you'll notice is that as I turn around and turn away from the camera and start walking that direction, you'll lose signal very fast because of the way your body interferes with the signal. And that's one thing that's bad about these mics, is you don't have to go very far before you start to get breakup because of the very small size and the frequencies that they're based on, and of course the output power. But then as soon as you turn around, you get much better signal, and you can go quite a distance. So right now, about 150 feet away. Now I'm a couple hundred feet away, maybe 200. And now I'm 500 feet away. Oh man, that wind is cold. As soon as you get a good clear line of sight, you get good signal and it has no problem. And immediately you start losing signal. But so long as you maintain a good clear line of sight, this system will go really far. It's just that as soon as you get into RF dense environments or places where there's a lot of obstacles between the transmitter and the receiver, you start to get problems. Next, we'll try the Rode Wireless Go 2. Here we are with the Rode Wireless Go 2. So same thing, when I start walking away and see how fast does it start to break up or lose connection, because I am directly between the transmitter and the receiver. Is it doing it now? Does it come back as soon as we go here? I feel like there's some very big distinct differences between DJI and the Rode as far as how they handle transmission and reconnection and loss of connection. So now I'm probably 250, maybe 300 feet away. So long as I've got good, direct line of sight, should be fine. But as soon as I turn around, so now I'm back where I was, 500 feet away with the DJI mic. If I turn, put my body between the receiver and the out, and then how fast does it come back in? Also, how good's the wind resistance? Because it is windy and cold. I don't know why, but I keep going to wintry places in the winter and hot places in the summer. I need to reverse that somehow. So beyond audio quality, this is where DJI has really set itself apart. This little case is absolutely fantastic. Not only is it a charging case that keeps everything charged up when you're traveling to or from shoot locations, but as soon as you open it, everything turns on and you can clearly see the battery levels of each and how much recording time you have left on each individual unit, which is fantastic. Plus, it also stores a USB-C adapter and a lightning adapter if you're going to do something like plug this directly into a phone or other device. On the other hand, with the Rode Wireless Go, you get none of that. You basically get these two microphones and the receiver, which you turn on by pushing this button here and this button down here. And then after a minute, they will turn on. You can tell they're linked and working, obviously by the blue light. And that's it. Now you can buy a charging device like this, which you plug each of the Rode mics into, but I found that this will continue to charge the microphones or these units even after they're fully charged. So they do get hot and that will destroy your battery. So if you're gonna use a case like this, I wouldn't recommend just leaving it in there. On battery life, the Rode Wireless Go 2 will give you 7 hours on a single charge before you'll need to charge them, or about 7 hours. Where the DJI mic will give you about 5.5 hours for the transmitters and about 5 hours for the receiver before you'll need to put them back in this case and let them charge up again. The nice thing is that anytime you're moving between shoot locations or doing anything like that, all you have to do to charge them is, because they have these little tiny connectors, or a little smart connector on the bottom, pop them in, they start charging automatically. You throw this in your bag, and by the time you get to your next location, these will probably be fairly fully charged again. And with the battery case, you can record for up to 15 hours when putting them in here to recharge in between shoots. One way that the DJI mic separates itself from the Rode Wireless Go 2 in a massive way is the usability. Now, I already covered some of that, is the fact that you just simply open the unit up and then they turn on, and once you pull them out, they're ready to go. But of course, you can go another direction with programming these to start recording as soon as you pull them out, or you can push the button to start recording. You can see the little red light turns on, and then they won't stop recording until you put them back in the case or you push the button. Depending on how you want to set it up, there's a huge amount of ways to set this up to operate the way you want it to operate. And the best thing about the wireless mic system is the way that you get around to adjust anything. You swipe down. Here you can change it from mono to stereo, which means you have one of these on left channel and one of these on the right channel. You can change it to mono with a safety channel, which means that it records at a regular volume and then a lower volume. So in case you have somebody who suddenly shouts wildly into the microphone, you won't get a bad audio feed. And then of course you can make it left or right, right or left. Then you can go into the receiver gain settings and adjust all your receiver gain. You can change your headphone volume. You can change your transmitter settings from the low cut filter to the gain settings to the auto record feature. So if you want it to record when it comes out of the box or not be able to start and stop recording using the button, you can do that there. You can have it auto record as soon as you take it out of the box. You can turn the vibration on or off. You can change the LED brightness to low, high, doesn't matter. You can change all of that. And then you have settings in here, the brightness. You can link or pair devices, but they do that automatically anytime they go in the case together. But because both of these units record internally on the transmitters, you have the opportunity to not lose any of your audio recordings, even if there's an audio dropout. Now, that has come in extremely useful for me on a lot of different shoots, especially with the wireless mic system from DJI, because I've used that feature a lot when I wasn't sure about the environment we were going to be in and how stable the recording would be. However, when it goes to getting the recordings off of the units, it's extremely different. With DJI, you plug it in via USB-C and you pull them off simply like you would a USB drive or a card off of your camera or anything like that. Operates much the same way. With the Rode, you have to go into the Rode Central app. You have to export the audio files from these onto your computer using the Rode Central app and then import them into whatever software you might be using. While it's not insanely difficult, it is more difficult than just being able to pull them off like you would a USB thumb drive or something like that. Hey, if you're enjoying this video, then consider subscribing. I test and review lots of filmmaking equipment in Alaska, and I give you tips and tutorials on how to use it. Now with the Rode system, you can change a lot of settings, but you have to be able to plug it in via USB-C either into your phone using a special cable or into a computer and use the Rode Central app. But the only settings you can change on the unit itself are the dB output settings here, where you can change it from, I think it's 10 different steps. Maybe it might be a few more than that. I'm pretty sure it's 10. The only other thing you can change beyond the output of the receiver is the mute and unmute. So there you can mute channel 2. You can change the output. There you can mute and turn on channel 1. Other than that, everything else has to be done through the computer app or through the phone app using, if you're going to use the phone app, you have to get a special cable, or through the computer, you have to use their program, which if you don't have a computer with you, like when I bought these to go up into the Arctic and record something up there for a documentary, it became very frustrating because I didn't have an ability to get online and I didn't have any way to change any of the settings on the road. Now, fortunately, it worked out for me okay, but being able to change all of your settings through the touchscreen on the receiver on the DJI makes it incredibly valuable and really user-friendly. There are a couple of ways that the Rode does beat out the DJI system. One is something I already covered, which is the self-noise of the units. Rode just has a cleaner sound straight out of the units as far as self-noise, and especially when you're using lavalier mics or lapel mics, it has a cleaner self-noise with the electronics for that, whereas the DJI mic definitely has higher self-noise. But if you use the right lapel, it's not a big deal, as I showed earlier. Another way that I do actually like the Rode system better is the cold shoe, hot shoe mount. The Rode system slides in and out of cold shoes, hot shoes, just a lot easier than the DJI mic does. It just slides in, slides out. Whereas the DJI mic, because they've made this system modular, where you can put this in or use one of the other units to plug it straight into a phone. But this thing, even though it does fit, it's much, much, much tighter than the Rode system to be able to take in and put out. Now, I could probably just file a little bit down and make it fit a little bit better, but it does make me wonder how long this little piece will last if you're forcing it in and out of a camera, hot shoe, cold shoe that often. Another great design of the wireless mic is the fact that the touchscreen gives you all the data you need, and you can face it forward so that if you're using the camera from the front, you can see it, or if you're going to be behind the camera, you can simply face it backward. And then from behind the camera, you see all the information. This little OLED screen is nice and bright. You can see it well outside, and it works well depending on how you're going to use it. Where the Rode system, it is on top. So the only way you can see it is by looking at the top of the camera or trying to mount it in some other way. That is a little bit less useful and a little bit less user-friendly than the wireless mic system or the DJI mic system is. Also, size can be a factor. Now, neither one of these is very heavy. In fact, I would say the DJI maybe weighs just a slight bit more. But right here, you can see the size difference between these two is substantial. And that's where I do really like the DJI system a lot better. And the fact that you can turn the LEDs on or off on the units so they're not like distracting or showing up really well makes it really nice. Another thing to note is that the back of these is magnetic on the wireless, on the DJI mic. So you have this little magnet, snaps on there, and you can attach it basically to anybody's shirt using the magnet right here. And just like that, the microphone is fixed onto the shirt of somebody. Or if you have a magnetic necklace or something like that, you could also use that to attach the DJI mic. Whereas with the Rode system, you don't have that option without some more accessories or other things. Another great feature of the DJI mic is the fact that you have a headphone out cord or port right here, so you can monitor directly off of this if you need to. But something else I really like is that if you unplug this, or if it becomes unplugged, it lets you know that right here on the screen, and you have to confirm it. And of course, we have to talk about price. Now, for the Rode Wireless Go 2, you're going to spend about $300, whereas with the DJI system, you're going to spend $330. But I really do think it's worth it, considering with the Wireless Go 2, if you want to have a charging station, you've got to buy this, which is an extra $30 to $40, depending on where you get it. If you want single units, they both do sell single units. The DJI mic, can't remember what the price is, 200 something, it'll be on the screen. And then the Rode Wireless Go 2. As far as what comes with each microphone, you get the DJI case here, the 2 transmitters, the receiver, all these little accessories in here. You get a couple of these little dead kittens, I guess is what we like to call them. And this little wire here, and then a bag, which I don't have and don't use. Now for the Rode Wireless Go 2, you get 2 transmitters and 1 receiver. You also get a cable to go from the receiver to your camera, and you get a nice little pouch that I have somewhere and I couldn't find it, but yeah. And then you also get a couple of these little, also very much similar, dead kittens, to be able to cut wind noise. And they do on both units, they do a very good job of handling wind. Right now, I think the DJI mic is probably the best value unless you plan to use something with some high-end lapels or different lapels that you maybe already have. The Shure lapel at $60-something is a great option for the DJI wireless system. But you're gonna wanna watch this video right here to see what the best on-camera options are for under $250. I'll see you over there. As always, if you have questions, ask me in the comments below or join my live stream Wednesday nights at 4 p.m. Alaska time, 8 p.m. Eastern. I'll see you again soon in the next video. Cheers.